Maddie, Kaylee, Xana, and Ethan were the victims of a murderer who police believe methodically planned exactly how he would slip into their home under the cover of night, armed with a knife to commit murder. Now, these four innocent victims ended up in the crosshairs of a cold-blooded killer, but I suspect that three of them may have actually been collateral damage. And to understand why, we have to try to get inside of the alleged killer's mind.
Wow, three of them collateral damage, huh? That means one of them was the target, right? Good morning, guys. Happy Monday. True Crime King back. And, yeah, as you saw in the title, we have a new theory about Bryan Kohberger from the Daily Mail. So we're going to be checking it out, and I'm going to be reacting. Here we go.
Let's go back to November 12th. It was a game day for the University of Idaho Vandals. Students partied, they drank, they laughed, they got home late, they went to bed. But for four of them, they wouldn't live to see the 13th.
The Idaho Vandals. That's a pretty good name, right?
Now, I have spent months investigating the horrific events which transpired that night to make sense of it all. But according to theories by police, the fates of Xana, Ethan, Kaylee, and Maddie were sealed long before November. Now, on the day of his arrest, police searched Kohberger's apartment and Washington State.
There's those teeth from his dad, and there's that weird-ass look from Kohberger.
University office looking for proof that he methodically planned his alleged crime. Investigators said in their search warrant affidavit that they were confident that Bryan Kohberger planned his actions ahead of time, likely at his residence or office. Now, police firmly believe that the quadruple homicide was premeditated and not something that just happened in the heat of the moment.
Yeah, well, I don't think you would have to premeditate something like this, right? I mean, almost certain.
But what does premeditation look like? Well, in this case, detectives think that the suspect made plans by researching other violent assaults like stabbings, as well as ways to avoid getting caught. They also believe that Bryan Kohberger stalked the residents of 1122 King Road for weeks before the murders. We're looking here at the back of the house. Screen still on the ground.
Okay. There's a screen on the back.
Dylan's room.
That's not Dylan's room. Yeah. Yeah, it is Dylan's room. That is Dylan's room. Why is the screen to Dylan's room window off when we know he didn't enter through Dylan's room? Dylan was in her room and didn't get touched.
It's a common space. Since day one, police have said that the quadruple homicide was targeted, and sources close to the investigation have indicated that it was just one target. Kaylee's family believes it was her. But how did one target become four bodies and also leave two survivors? Well, it's my opinion that the suspected killer had planned to slaughter just one single victim that night, but that his plan went awry when he got in the house. Now, based on everything I know about the case, I am fairly confident Xana and Ethan were collateral damage, as well as one of the other two victims, but I'm not sure just who quite yet. It seems that the alleged killer may have been obsessed with only one of the girls in the house. A source with knowledge of the investigation recently told People magazine that Kohberger's phone contained multiple images of one of the victims. So it's my opinion that law enforcement will likely find more images and information in their digital investigation.
Who do you guys think, Kaylee or Maddie? Put it in the comments.
Will zero in on a single victim. Now, the source also told the outlet that Kohberger followed Kaylee, Maddie, and Xana on social media, but repeatedly messaged only one of them. Now, on the night of the murders, the surviving roommate first heard noises of the intruder on the third floor. That is where the killings most likely started.
Or you guys could go listen to Drunk Turkey and be all over the place.
That in mind, I think either Kaylee or Madison were the intended target, and the other was just killed because of sheer bad luck because they were in the same room. I believe the killer had a well-thought-out plan, and that plan that they had laid out in painstaking detail went totally wrong. I don't think the killer expected Maddie and Kaylee to be in the same bed, and that is where things just went off the rails. As for Xana, she was awake at the time of the killings, and it's my assertion that the killer realized she was up and had to kill her in order to keep her quiet. The surviving roommate...
Yeah, but he saw him and Dylan made eye contact, right? So why didn't he kill Dylan, right?
Crying from Xana's room, and the killer trying to calm her down by lying and saying he was going to help her before stabbing her to death. That would mean that Ethan, who was sleeping in Xana's bedroom, his girlfriend's bedroom, was most likely killed because he was just in the room when Xana was slaughtered.
Well, Ethan was found in the doorway, right? So we're assuming that Ethan was trying to not let Kohberger into the room. But that's just speculation at this point.
It's my opinion that the suspect never intended on having multiple victims, but likely felt he had to kill the 3 others, which is also why I think that there were 2 survivors left unharmed. Not only do I think the suspected killer had just one target, but I also think he became obsessed with that target months prior.
Yeah, I think so too. I'm not ready to make my official conclusion yet, because that would be kind of stupid, because all the evidence hasn't been released yet, right?
Kohberger moved from his home in Pennsylvania.
But I can say who I think as of this moment. I'm still gonna lean with Kaylee. As of this moment, I'm still leaning with Kaylee as the target. Let me know what I know a lot of you guys think it's Madison, Maddie, but there's no way to be certain, right, at this time. So all we can do is guess until the trial or until he confesses, right?
To Washington State University in June of 2022 to get his doctorate in criminology. And it wasn't long before...
And I say that because of where he stabbed Kaylee at. That's the main reason.
Cops believe he started showing up at the victim's home. Before his arrest, investigators obtained a search warrant for Kohberger's historical cell phone data. And as early as August 21st, his phone pinged a tower covering 1122 King Road. That's more than 2 months before the murders. And on that first night, his phone allegedly was in the area for an hour from about 10:30 to 11:30 p.m. The thought of someone just lurking outside of your home at that time of night on its face value is creepy. But just picture what Kohberger could have seen. There's a parking lot behind the structure attached to a small apartment complex. From there, you could slip out of your car pretty much unnoticed and just watch.
Yeah, we know that's probably what he was doing, right? I mean, he was seen around there multiple times before the killings. He was caught on camera, right?
That vantage point looks directly into Kaylee's bedroom.
Right into Kaylee, and she didn't have blinds in her room. Madison didn't either. Just wide open. You can, if the lights were on, you could see them. If you were a stalker sitting in the woods, yeah, a crazy person like Kohberger.
Into Maddie's bedroom, into the kitchen and the living room. Based on phone records, police believe Kohberger went to the home and watched the house, not once, not twice.
Okay, now, real quick, from this perspective, the drunk turkeys were like, why would he enter from the 2nd floor? Why wouldn't he just enter in the 3rd floor? Well, take a look, guys. You can't enter through the 3rd floor. There's no stairs.
But 12 times from late August until November. Where I'm standing is the vantage point that the alleged killer would have had if he parked back here, which is where the Hyundai was.
Okay, so let's say he's right here, right? Okay, you can see right into Kaylee's room if the light's on. I mean, you know, you can also see into Madison's room if the lights were on. But, I don't know. I'm leaning with Kaylee still. with the evidence that is out as of this moment.
And what cops believe happened. And this right here is the foundation to Xana's room. You can still actually see, even after all these weeks, the drips and drops of blood right there that had come out from the foundation. And of course, we now know that Xana was found on the floor of her bedroom, so that would make a lot of sense.
I mean, look, this person's doing this, stalking, and nobody's saying anything. Nobody probably even notices her. Imagine when Kohberger's doing it before all of these murders. Nobody would definitely not notice him, or especially not say something, which they didn't.
And it seems he didn't just spend time by the house. He is also suspected of loitering around campus. A sophomore at the University of Idaho told a People reporter that they saw Bryan at the student union. Now, a student at the student union is not weird, but remember, Kohberger went to a completely different university, and
that's weird. Why are you at a different university that you don't go to and you don't teach at, right? You teach at the other one.
This sophomore said, quote, "He was the type to stare. He wouldn't look away if you caught him staring, like he wanted you to notice he was looking at you." And another student said that they saw him so often on the University of Idaho campus that they just assumed he was enrolled there. Now, I have been to both the University of Idaho and Washington State University campuses. There is no reason that I can think of to just be hanging out at the other campus unless you were there to meet someone, or what I believe happened in this case was to watch someone. Police seized Kohberger's cell phone at the time of his arrest, as well as a computer tower and a Fire TV stick from his apartment, to see if he left any kind of search history showing an interest in or planning of murder, violent assault, stabbing, and or cutting of people, as well as details about the home at 1122 King Road, the surrounding neighborhood, or any of the victims or survivors. They're also hoping that his digital devices will offer up clues as to other locations where evidence, like the murder weapon, may be found.
Yeah, if they find that knife and it still has any connection or any DNA of Kohberger's on there, it's over, right?
Connecting Kohberger directly to the knife used in the stabbings will be key for prosecutors. His DNA was already allegedly found on the snap of the knife sheath, according to law enforcement.
And if it really was found on the snap, on that button, on the sheath, it's probably over already, to be honest with you.
But that is still not the knife itself, not the murder weapon. The knife used in the slayings had to be obtained from somewhere, and police believe that Kohberger went out and bought it sometime before the crime. Investigators may have found evidence of this already. The search of Kohberger's apartment turned up a Walmart receipt as well as 2 Marshall's receipts. Now, these receipts hold some significance. When cops execute a search warrant, they can only look for a specific list of items pertaining to the crime, and they only seize materials believed to have probative value in the case. Now, to be...
Yeah, but that's anything they want, right? When they write, if they can say any, go in your house, and if they think it has anything to do with the crime, no matter what it is, they're taking it, okay?
Crystal clear here. We don't know what was on these receipts, what specifically he bought at Walmart, but Walmart does sell fixed blade K-bar knives. And a K-bar knife sheath was left at the crime scene, and the medical examiner confirmed the 4 victims were killed by a fixed blade knife. Bryan Kohberger is a unique suspect because he has a long-time academic interest in crimes and criminals. His master's degree is in criminal justice, and he was a criminology PhD student at the time of the murder. So his academic research into the criminal mind goes back years as part of his master's program at DeSales University. Now, there, Kohberger studied under world-renowned Professor Catherine Ramsland, and true crime junkies will no doubt recognize her name.
Yeah, she was from the BTK thing.
She has done extensive research into the minds of serial killers, specifically her relationship and book on BTK. Kohberger also conducted a research project into convicted criminals, and he asked them a series of survey questions. For a criminal justice researcher, these questions are kind of par for the course, but in light of the crime that he has been accused of, some experts have suggested that Kohberger may have been trying to study the mistakes and the minds of other criminals to create a blueprint for himself. Now, let me show you an example of some of these questions. Now, these are his specific questions. Why did you choose that victim or target over others? What was the first move you made to accomplish your goal? Did you prepare for the crime before leaving your home? Knowledge of the quadruple homicide.
I'm sure most of them prepared for the crime before leaving their home, right?
Now makes these questions, in retrospect, seem sinister and not academic. And I want to point out the usage of the term goal here. We're talking about crimes, sometimes violent crimes, being referred to as a goal, a term most of us consider to be positive. So is that how Bryan Kohberger views violent crimes, as a goal to achieve? Were these questions a method to weed out mistakes before acting on his own violent impulses? I don't know, and we may never know the answer. The answer might not even matter. There's a good chance that this survey will not make it into trial, so a jury may never hear it. But if a judge does allow it in, the defense may utilize it as a way to plant the seed of reasonable doubt by explaining away all of this research, or any research or Google searches found into violent stabbings, potentially on Kohberger's devices, as simply just him doing his schoolwork. It will ultimately be up to a jury to decide whether the suspect is a premeditated murderer or an innocent criminology student. But if Kohberger is convicted and sentenced to the death penalty, he may face a firing squad.
Firing squad. Wow. Yeah, that was pretty good. I didn't want to talk too much. But yeah, she had some good points in there. But let me know if you liked it. Smash the like button. You don't have to. I'll be okay. And True Crime King, out.